Say what needs to be said. It's your boy Asante, Mr. Pick Six Samuel. I'm back in the building, baby. We back. Saturday night vibes, baby. Almost Sunday morning. Saturday night, man. I know I'm up late with y'all. We got to cover this game. We got to talk about my Eagles, baby. We got to talk about Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs. We got to talk about Coach Prime, Colorado Buffs versus Nebraska Corn. What are they? What are they? Nebraska. We'll look it up. We'll look it up. Say what needs to be said, man. It's late night vibes tonight, man. Y'all come join in. Come fuck with me. Come talk to me. I think the Colorado Buffalo records will end just as they did last year. Maybe slightly worse, but 4-7, depending on how many games they got. I don't know if it's 11 or 12, but 4-7, 4-8, man. That's what I'm seeing. Say what needs to be said. R.I.P., man. Rest in peace, rest in heaven, man. Rich Homie Quan, man. All the classes Rich Homie Quan used to drop, and I was in my prime, man. You know, my favorite class from Rich Homie Quan was that walkthrough. And I'm telling you, boy, when that thing used to come on, I used to be feeling like the man when I walked through. Hey, that used to be my joint, boy, when that junk came on in the club, for real, man. I think I was just signed to the Eagles. I was paid. I was the highest paid cornerback. When I hit this club, you know, everybody, I got the freshest jewelry on, the most blingingest, biggest, shinest jewelry out of everybody, all the players, you know what I mean? But say what needs to be said. We got to talk about these things, man. Coach Prime, man, they out there, they did not do too well tonight, man. They kind of like embarrassing themselves, man, but they're going to get it together. We got a little faith. You understand what I'm saying? R.I.P. Rich Homie Quan. Y'all come on in the building. Y'all come on in, come fuck with me. Y'all come deal with it. Come fuck with the boy, man. All right, man. Eagles versus Packers, first and foremost, man. Let's get into that. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. To the road to victory. Fly, Eagles, fly. Hit them one. Let's score a touchdown. 1, 2, 3. I don't even remember the song. Hit them low, hit them high. Yeah, man. Shout out to my Eagles, man. They did their thing, man, against the Green Bay Packers. A really good team, man. Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love back there at quarterback. The leader is a very important aspect of the team. You know what I mean? The quarterback. And the Green Bay Packers has a very good team. So salute to the Green Bay Packers. But my Eagles, they went and handled their business. But one thing, man, if we're going to be booking games and going to play all the way in another country internationally, they can at least make sure the fields is playing. The fields is right for the playing conditions to be up to par, right? And able for the athletes, top notch, the best athletes in the world to be able to perform on. Man, who in the world flies 10 hours across the country into another country to want to go over there to be slipping all over the place, man? That's uncalled for, man. The NFL makes entirely too much money or generates too much money, too much revenue to have athletes going over there slipping, man, and in week one, man, one of the biggest games of the year, week one, you know, it's a lot of attention on that game, and it's an international game. And if we're trying to get this international football going, man, let's get the fields right. Let's have the player safety at the highest, you know what I mean, the number one priority. That's what we need. Player safety at number one priority, man. That was not too swell to see these players out there slipping around. You know what I mean? But I can remember, let me tell you, when I was in New England on game day, I can remember on purpose, we always had a soft field, and it was on purpose. You would see players, they come out, you know, before the game, you warming up, and the field goal kickers, and they trying to kick the ball, and they slipping everywhere. And they was unable to get their foot and trying to, you know what I mean, trying to get it right. But Bill Belichick, he did that on purpose because he thought that gave us an advantage. If the other team is not used to this slipping field and we're used to it, he thought it miraculously gave us an advantage. But we all know that was Tom Brady. You know what I mean? But other teams, they hated our field, and they would complain to the league about the field and things like that. And eventually, you know, it was brought to the owners and the commissioner's attention, and they took steps, the necessary steps, and made sure New England Patriots, the team, had to replace the field and make sure the fields were at the conditions of every other stadium and, you know, capable for players to play on. So, you know, soft, slippery fields are the worst to play on. You can be, you know, You want to be out there confident in your abilities, and then boom, when it's time for you to make a play, boom, you make a cut or a break. Boom, you think you're about to get the ball, score a touchdown, and boom, you're slipping everywhere. That's scary. That doesn't give you enough confidence, the confidence you need to go out there and play to the best of your ability to make this team win. And that's what we used to do in New England, man. So that was one of Coach Belichick's tactics he thought helped us win. Now, I can't lie, man. A lot of guys slipped on our field, even kickers. You know what I mean? It's funny to say, but I don't know why he think it gave us an advantage and not them an advantage, because we're slipping just like them. And that's the crazy thing about it. You understand what I'm saying? But I hated to see that. It would have been a totally different game if those players wasn't slipping around. A lot more plays would have been made. Momentum would have shifted left and right. And some things wouldn't have happened. Some plays wouldn't have made and things like that. So I don't know how accurate of a game that was to tell how good of these two teams were per se. But we could tell. I just expected Green Bay to do a lot better than what they did, especially with Jordan Love. I expected him to go out and capitalize and be a player 2 times that he was last year. All right, but let's get into the game, right? For the first quarter, or let's say pretty much the first half, I say that was the final preseason game. Everybody felt like everybody was going out there. It seemed like people were second guessing themselves, but they wasn't ready for regular season football. You know what I mean? And it seemed like they were getting their timing and their speed and trying to understand how to play that fast of football in the first quarter, or I'll say the first half. And it was sloppy, and you can tell. And after everyone got through the first quarter or the first half, everybody calmed down. Jalen Hurts, he started to feel himself. He started to get into his rhythm and play really good football. I was really impressed with Jalen Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts, man, I think he improved. He improved a lot from last year. Just off one game, me watching Jalen Hurts, he looked like he improved a lot. It looks very comfortable. I don't know if it's because of the new offensive coordinator or what, but like I said, Jalen Hurts, he looked very comfortable, calm, cool, collect. He looked like he ready to seize any moment or any adversity that comes up in the game, and he's ready to take charge and be the leader of that team, right? Now, despite the mishaps, right, that happened early on, I see Eagles going to the playoffs for sure. Eagles will be a playoff team this year. They got the only person they're going to have to compete with in the division, obviously, is Dallas. The Redskins and the Giants, they're not going to stand a chance. So that's an easy path to the playoffs right there for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I see this as a good opportunity for the playoffs. I mean, for the Eagles to be able to take this thing to the Super Bowl because of the path now. You know what I mean? And what a surprise, Saquon Barkley, man. Coming off injury, I don't care if it's 2 years old or a year old or 3 years old. It is very hard to come off of injury and become that same athlete you once was, or same player, and play to that high of a level. But Saquon, he solidified himself as a go-to player on that Eagles offense, and he showed that he's still explosive and he can take over a game, and he's still in his prime. Now, the issue is going to be getting the ball into Saquon Barkley's hands more and more and more. They need to feed him the ball and let him go out there and be a dominant player that he can be. His rookie season, when he played for the New York Jets before he got hurt, you understand, running for 1,300 yards, receiving for over 700 yards, just like LaShawn McCoy, you know what I mean? And that's who Saquon Barkley can be. And he showed that finally. I don't think he was able to become the full player that he was supposed to be in as a Giant because of so many different obstacles over there, and the things they had to go through as far as coaching and winning and players and all those things, right? So he's at a great organization right now with a great foundation, and I like to see Saquon keep thriving, and they feed him that ball. He is very explosive. He can take over a game And you know, when one thing isn't working, that's why it's good to have weapons. When one thing is working, maybe AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, they can't get their connection right. The timing isn't right. So now, or the offensive line may not be giving Jalen Hurts enough time to find AJ Brown. Now we can give the ball to Saquon Barkley. We could throw screens to him, and he can take over the game like LaShawn McCoy used to take over. And I like that. I like that for this team. I like that for this team. So shout out to Saquon Barkley, man. You know what I mean? And hey, you got to understand the confidence and the thing that does for players when you're coming from a significant injury, especially when you was a high caliber draft pick and there were so many expectations for you. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Shout out to Saquon Barkley, man, one more time, man. He is a Philadelphia Eagle now. He is not a G-man. He is a Philadelphia Eagle, and I know he love it more than ever, baby. Welcome to the Eagles, Saquon. Way to put on for the city. You keep putting on, they're going to love you. You know what I mean? And, you know, I got to give a shout out to the young man, the rookie. Well, how you say his name? Quayon Mitchell, man, the cornerback. Number 27, man. That young man understands how to play the position cornerback. He understands how to use his eyes, leverage, when to break on the ball. He knows how to get the jump on the quarterback by using his eyes and his leverage to see the quarterback and the receiver at the same time. You know, this is just his rookie year. He tightened a little more, tighten some of those things up, a little bit of the leverage. He positioned himself a little better, and he will make those plays. He made the play, meaning he will intercept those balls and become an all-pro player. He plays with good base, good foundation, great foundation, and great leverage. And it kind of looks like me coming in and out of those breaks. You know, I'm not trying to toot my horn, but so shout out to that young man over there. He did his thing. So he probably will continue to get a lot of playing time. He's gonna be the starter in the future. Just say that he's a first round pick. That's how it go. And it looks like he's deserving it. And gotta say, big play Slay. He went out there and he played solid. On one play, I think it was early, maybe in the second quarter or something like that. I don't know, but it was in the red zone, and they did a quick slant to him, and he broke on the ball. Big play Slay. He broke on the ball, but then he second guessed himself, and he looked back. And I wanted to text him on the play, and I know that he wished he would have believed himself on that play, and he could have went and broke it up or intercepted. So I'll probably bring one of those plays up and cut that up and put it in here. You know what I mean? So shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles defense, the cornerback, the secondary. You know what I mean? I was supposed to get my boy CJ Gardner Johnson on here, but I didn't hit him up. You know what I mean? So we're gonna let this ride over, and we're gonna connect sooner or later. But the secondary, man, is playing. Man, Vic Fangio, he has those young boys playing their butt off. And that young defense is playing some really good football, right? They got some areas, of course, they need to clean up and things like that. But I like what I saw there from the young guys and what Vic Fangio is bringing to the team so far, right? Now, it's just the first game of the season, but I saw a lot of good signs, and that's all you can go off of, the signs and the things you see. Now, on the other side of the ball, right, got some situations, well, not on the other side of the ball, but on the defensive side of the ball, which is what we're talking about. We got a few things you got to clean up, and, got a few explosive plays that we gave up, which comes down to tackling. And I know we like to be harsh on each other especially when players mess up and things like that. But my brother CJ Gardner, he was put in some unfortunate situations. And understand what safety stands for. Safety stands for safety, the last line of defense, the last person that possibly can save the team from getting a touchdown scored on them. So that means they're going to be in a lot of one-on-one plays by themselves, expecting to make a lot of one-on-one tackles against elite athletes, one of the top elite, fastest, biggest, strongest human beings in the world, right? So with all that being said, yes, that we're not making no excuses. Of course, we don't make no excuses. He needs to make that play every time. But understand that those tackles and being put in that position are some of the hardest challenges we have to deal with playing defensive back, or just let alone playing football. And that's why we picked the sport, and that's why we're one of the one percenters. You understand what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? Y'all cut the man some slack. It's a tough game, and he went out there and did his thing. They got the victory. A great team victory, right? A great team victory. And the other thing on the defense is got to clean up some of those big runs. Now, I know as the league, depending on the league and the situation of football, you might be playing for pass plays and things like that, or expecting pass more often, so you put out a pass defense instead of a run defense. So that making it cleaned up with some of the play calling and stuff like that. But it was some big gaping gaps at times that I didn't like. And so I think they got some over there in Philadelphia. Really, man. I really do. They look really sharp. They look really good. And one time for Reed Blankenship, man, with the first career interception. Now, let me talk to y'all about Reed Blankenship. I got to tell you, I got to say what needs to be said. His first career interception, and it led to a touchdown. That is big, because you understand, a lot of people, I got 51 interceptions just in the regular season. You got to understand, a lot of people intercept in passes that may never mean anything. They never lead to a touchdown. They never lead to a field goal. It's not a game-winning interception. It's just an interception. You got the ball back. Your offense went 3 and out, and they gave the ball back. Now you intercepted the ball, and it led to a touchdown. That means a lot. You know what I mean? Those mean more than a regular interception. Now he can start to feel himself. He can feel like he's one of the guys. You know what I mean? Reed Blankenship. So shout out to Reed Blankenship. And y'all know, man, we got to pub up a white guy when he excels at an athletic position in NFL. We got to pub up a white athlete, because if he's starting at the defensive back position or a skill position, period, in the NFL, guess what? 9 times out of 10, that fella beat out a black athlete for that position or that job. So you know what I mean? He really deserved that position, because 9 times out of 10, he beat out the best of the best. You know what I mean? He beat out a African American for that position, and that's huge. So he deserved that position, and he's out there making plays on the first game, and on national television in front of everybody. So shout out to the Reed Blankenship, man. Melrose in the building. One time for Melrose. You know what I mean? Man, y'all talk to me in the chat about this, how y'all feel about the Eagles, and we're going to get into this Coach Prime stuff, man. This Colorado football, because that was crazy. And I want to talk about, the Dolphin players, and when Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, left the Dolphins, and you got, some of the players, I don't want to say their names, but they wanted to bash him and act like he wasn't using them correctly, because they didn't have the type of season they was expecting. And you can't do that, first of all, as a grown man, and second of all, as a professional athlete. We don't make those type of excuses. Wherever you at, what position you play, whatever scheme is called, your job is to go out there and make the plays. You know what I mean? Don't blame your mishaps on another man. And that's the lesson for today. Vic Fangio just left the Dolphins with all those people complaining about him. Now he's over here thriving as a Philadelphia Eagle. And what you already said is written in stone. And you're going to see. And y'all going to see that it wasn't Vic. Maybe you just got to go out there and play. You know what I mean? And for Green Bay, real quick, Green Bay, they pretty much sucked in the end zone. They were supposed to jump out all over the Eagles 14-0, but settled for 3 points a couple times in the red zone. And yeah, I didn't expect that from Jordan Love. I expect him to be at an elite level. And he is an elite quarterback, but it needs to be shown on game day, especially in critical situations. And that was unfortunate what happened to him Hopefully the young man hurry ups and get back. Man, that was crazy what we seen on his knee. That little pop. I pop my knee every day like that. And yeah, that was wild. And it was very cringe. And then let's talk about the cornerback position in my top 10 because we got to talk about Jair Alexander, right? I know a lot of people, the Green Bay fans and things like that. I didn't have him in my top 10 for a lot of reasons. But he made a good play. He made an interception in his zone, and it was a big play. It stopped them from scoring. But I can't give you that much credit for that interception because right before that, you just gave up a 67-yard touchdown to A.J. Brown. And interceptions are great, but you can't give up big plays for touchdowns and expect those interceptions to be stamped as a great play. No, I mean, it's a great play, but we can't overlook all the bad things that's already done. You understand what I'm saying? So you limit, if Jair Alexander, he can limit those big plays and make big plays, you can be a top cornerback. But right now, that is not going to get you top cornerback status. Maybe, maybe the media may give it to you one day, but not Mr. Pick Six, baby. You got to earn your stripes around here, baby. But say what needs to be said. Colorado football, man. Did y'all tune into the game tonight? Colorado versus Nebraska. What do we think about the game? What do you think about what Coach Prime is doing over there? And a lot of people have a lot to say because of skin color and things like that, but it's not about that. It's about doing what you say you're gonna do and how and things that need to be done. And for me, it's time for Coach Prime to change the way he recruits, his recruiting philosophy. It is time for Coach Prime to change his recruiting philosophy. And what do I mean by that? Right? And what do I mean by that? I mean, Coach Prime needs to get out of Colorado, get on his jet, and get into these kids' houses and bring some collard greens, some cornbread, some fried chicken, and recruit the big fellas. He need the hogs. He need those big country boys from Georgia, Alabama, Texas, wherever they at, the 6'7", 350-pound athletes that's agile, just like cornerbacks and linebackers that can move and block and that can push. You know what I mean? I follow Coach Prime, and I hear him talk, right? And he expects recruits just to love him and love what he's doing for the program. And I guess all the attention and everything and all the eyes that he is bringing to the Colorado football program, I think he expects people just to love that and be willing to just pop up and sign with him because of who he is and his status. No, man, you have to recruit the way recruiting start. You can't come and think you're going to pioneer this whole recruiting thing. No, you need to get into these kids' houses, Coach Prime. Go sit down with the parents in their living room with the roaches, the ants, the rats, whatever's crawling around on the dirty, unsanitized couch. Make them feel like you one of them and go get those big fellas. That's the only thing you're missing. We already see Coach Prime. You can get all the skill position, the cornerbacks, the wide receivers, the quarterbacks, and the cornerbacks, safeties, and so on and so forth. But you need linebackers. You need defensive linemen, and you need offensive linemen to win games. The skilled players, they can't win the game. By the time the ball is back there, it's too late. So that's my thing. Coach Prime has to change that philosophy of thinking he doesn't have to go and out and recruit these kids and break bread with them in their houses and see their family and make them feel like he one of them. He can't expect to land, the top recruits by just because I'm Coach Prime. I got a lot of followers. And guess what? I'm generating all this type of money. You might get an NIL deal worth such and such amount of money. No, man, no. Expectations for everyone is beyond just the NIL deal and the college. Everyone want to go to NFL, right? That's what the goal is. Everyone wants to go to the NFL, and everyone wants to act like people be hating on Coach Prime. No, we have to criticize Coach Prime just like matter of fact, Coach Prime got to get criticized more because I guess he craves attention, right? Right? Y'all wonder why I didn't get on last week. I'm gonna explain y'all why I didn't go. I didn't get on last week because that was false hope. Everybody was so excited about the way Colorado beat North Dakota State. And to me, that was just false hope. And I didn't have too much positive to say. So I just kept my mouth shut because I was gonna come on here and speak like, what do y'all think? Y'all think that was a great game? No, this is not the same caliber athletes. This is Division I and Division I AA, if that's still how they rate everything. You understand? The biggest positive I saw from that game was a great catch by Travis Hunter. Yeah, it was a great catch, but how much credit do you give him? It was still against North Dakota State. You understand what I'm saying? So I kept my mouth shut and didn't get on because I didn't have too much positive to say because I wasn't impressed at all by what Colorado did to North Dakota State. That wasn't impressive. But now tonight against Nebraska, that was real football. That was real physical, mano a mano. My athlete is good as your athlete. Who will win? That's the type of football that Colorado Buffaloes have to prove they can win. These type of games. And Nebraska wasn't even ranked. And for me, right, that's a good way to measure a team and their success by the teams they played last year. And last year they beat Nebraska 36-14, right? Put a really good whooping on them. But how do you get better from last year? Nebraska clearly showed Colorado that they're a better team than last year, but Colorado is just the same team as last year. The performance hasn't changed at all. The offensive line and defensive line looks exactly the same as last year. And Coach Prime at halftime, I heard him say, they're asking Coach Prime about his changes and what he's going to do for adjustments going into the second half what the score was, 28-0. And it's asked him about defense. It's like, no, we ain't going to change nothing on defense. We're doing pretty good. Offense, could keep the ball on the field a little longer, hold the time of possession, and defense will play better. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Yeah, they're doing all right, but the holes for the running game is wide as ever. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, you got to keep something positive, I guess is what he's saying. But yeah, we gonna see, man. But yeah, Coach Prime, the whole point, man, is Coach Prime had to change his philosophy in the recruiting. You know what I mean? And then on the other hand, when you go through a whole offseason and it's dominated by the Sanders family and Coach Prime, the Colorado Buffaloes, when he's insinuating the whole offseason that he has accomplished everything the team needed during the offseason to make sure this team is a better or a championship team, we the fans, the spectators, we become increasingly we get we get our hopes up very high for the season when we hear him brag about the things he's doing in the offseason to make this team better. Yeah, that brings in the bucks. It brings in a big buck for Coach Prime. He has a sunglass deal. All the kids got mansions over there. They got Hellcats. They got Ferraris, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's great. But at the end of the day, to run a good program, you have to win. And I guess if nowadays can't just win, you need to be sending players to the NFL and the next level. That in today's time is what solidifies your program as a good program and want players and makes players eager to come to your team, right? But not only do the fans and players, not only do we get our hopes up high, but the expectations are everywhere. You got the boosters, you got the team, you got staff members, and everything. Everyone have high expectations, but when things doesn't go so well, when you set the parameter so high and you act like everything is so good, then this is when you start to see the cancers on the team start to come out. You start to see the selfishness in players. And let me tell you something. I don't know if y'all can see what I see, but I see some strife going on within the offensive side of the ball. And Travis Hunter, he seems like he demanding that ball, and he wants to be the leading receiver on the team, just like any other receiver. And I don't think it's sitting well with all the other players. And we're gonna see. We're gonna see how tight this team is. It a real together brotherhood team, or is it about me? You understand what I'm saying? Because it's easy to be a front runner when everything is going good. I'm down with the program. Yeah, right. It's easy to be a front runner, but when adversity hit and it's time to make adjustments, are you down with that? You understand what I'm saying? Because I done been through it all, baby. I know I can speak from every angle because I done been through it all. But for me too, as far as the game and Coach Prime making his team better, it's just Coach Prime refuses to run the ball, right? He refuses to be a run first team, right? And if your offensive line is struggling to protect the quarterback, that is the first thing you do is run the ball. You don't make them continue to sit back and pass, Brock, and be passive and vulnerable and let these freaking monsters and gorillas just come all down their throat. No, you give them a chance to go be aggressive and go forward. You call run plays. You understand what I'm saying? You call pro formation. That means two running backs in the backfield, all the linemen down, and two receivers, or R formation, high, whatever you call it, and you run a lead right up their butt, and eventually something will give. You keep wearing it down, but that's how you build the confidence in your offensive line and your team, your running back, and you keep the ball away from the offense. But for some reason, they continue to want to spread it out, 4 or 5 receivers, and leave these poor linemen just vulnerable and unprotected, and like they're out there trying to fend for their life against these monsters coming down their throat because they can't protect nothing. They can't. I mean, you just look at the offensive linemen out there. They don't look like big, athletic, sturdy offensive linemen. They look big and like, kind of linky, maybe like Division II type of offensive lineman. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by Coach Prime need to change his recruiting philosophy and go get in those kids' houses, man. Bring them the cornbread, bring them the collard greens. Go in there and break bread with them so they'll be eager to sign with you because they'll feel like, actually family. They'll feel like you're one of them because you're sitting down there with them, right? And this whole thing with the offensive coordinator and firing of Sean Lewis last year is crazy to me too. And that doesn't sit well with me too, right? Now they have Pat Schumer running the offense, and I thought Sean Lewis was doing a hell of a job. And I can remember Shador explaining last year, basically what was Shador saying? Shador was saying, don't quote me verbatim, but he was basically saying how Sean Lewis offense is, you know what I mean? There is no options. Everything is fixed. The routes are fixed. And he didn't like that. He wanted options. And now I can see during the game when he was waiting and trying to let options come open, right? He didn't have enough time for that. So that's where the fixed routes and timing routes come in at. And I guess he doesn't like that style of play. I could see he has that Mahomes style where he wants to float back, kind of let things develop and find an open man. But yeah, that's cool. But I don't think Pat Schumer was the right fit for that job. Sean Lewis was perfect. If the quarterback and the offensive coordinator are bumping heads, that's where the leader comes in, the head coach, and make a in and figure this out. And of course he's not gonna never say it was a mistake bringing in Pat Schumer, but we're gonna see. We can see for ourselves. And yeah, the offensive line is the biggest problem, but at the end of the day, the offensive coordinator needs to he has to remedy that problem some type of way. Whether you put two tight ends out there to help chip block with the running backs, and at the end of the day, it ultimately comes down to, can the offensive coordinator maneuver in the weak areas on the team? And that's what they got to do. I think Sean Lewis was headed in the right direction, and they took a step back, man, going with Pat Schumer. So we're gonna see, man. But one thing about that Colorado team that was most impressive to me, and most impressive at all, is out of everything that was going on, is they never quit. And all the way to the end, that Colorado Buffalo football team, felt like they had a chance to win. I mean, even when it was 28-zip, they were flying around and screaming down, Nebraska throat every chance they got. And they thought they had a chance to win. So those young men are hungry, and they want to win. But they need the tools to win. They need to be put in the right positions to win. And we all rooting for Coach Prime, but man, I don't see anything changing. And this is when the time you have to be a real coach. You have to coach. And I'm not saying Coach Prime is not being a coach and a real coach, but all that talking and stuff, that got to get down to the nitty-gritty. And ultimately, if you're the head coach, you're on the offensive side or you're on the defensive side. Or you may just sit back and just point, you know what I mean? Hey, this, that, and the other. We're doing this on this dime. Where do you fit at as a head coach? You know what I mean? So, what else going on, man? That was a pretty interesting game. I like the other quarterback from Nebraska. I didn't know he was a freshman. I don't want to mess up his name, but he's a pretty good talent in the future, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat about the future of the Colorado Buffaloes. Who they play next? Cincinnati or something? I gotta look it up. But it's gonna be interesting, man. And we're gonna see. Man, they got a lot of injuries. It was a rough game. Nebraska's a big physical college football team, and it's always been that way because of the weight programs and stuff like that. But yeah, Shedeur Sanders, man. Shedeur Sanders, I don't know if this game is gonna hurt his stock or not, but this wasn't his best game. But he did some really good things. He also did some bad things. Took a lot of sacks, but that's how it goes when your offensive line ain't wrapped too tight. So in the future, getting them recruits' houses, man. Got to go to the hood, Coach Prime. You got to go to their house, pull up with your police escort, go sit in the living room with the rats, the roaches, the ants, the mosquitoes, the little baby with the pissy diapers, and go recruit these big hogs, man, from Alabama, Texas, Georgia, wherever it is, man. Go get them. So Colorado Buffaloes can be a dominant team for the next 10 years, man. You need that. You have to go get those dogs if you want to be a winning team. Skill position only could do so much, baby. So that's what it is, Mr. Pick Six. Say what needs to be said. Until next time, baby. I'm going to see y'all. I might see y'all tomorrow night or Monday morning, Monday night. But we got a lot of more football to cover, a lot more things going on. And it's showtime, baby. Salute, man. I'm out.